This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Today, our focus is what's up with the newest numbers that came out on production at 310,000 for the first quarter of 2022. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time, welcome. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. We also want to thank our Patreon supporters. If you enjoy the show, would like better information on investing and trading, please join us on Patreon. For our highest tier folks, we actually do everyday updates on the market and Tesla. I think you might be finding helpful with your investing. So what I wanted to cover today is the fact that we've, by the way, this is a copyrighted broadcast. We've kind of built up part of our channel being input on what's going on investing and trading in Tesla. And there are kind of 4 dates every year that are critical dates for Tesla, which are earnings announcements. And obviously they happen 4 times a year. But in the case of Tesla, unlike a lot of other manufacturers, there's also the issue of, does Tesla come in and give us production numbers early? So now we have an interesting situation where those production numbers will give us a window on how the revenue numbers are going to look. And as we know, there are kind of 2 aspects of this, both the numbers for the previous quarter and the numbers for the current quarter that really influence the stock price. So in the case of this quarter, as you know, 310,000 vehicles were produced. Very good number. Part of the reason is that an example would be in the case of Honda, they're actually down 25% on sales, even though dealers are making a killing on cars that are in short supply. So I therefore wanted to sort of ease into other variables currently influencing the stock in the short term, as well as long-term variables. So one of the big what's going on here is that we have a new thing that started happening with Tesla. Whenever news hits now, unlike a year and a half ago, we're now seeing instant reaction by the marketplace. So in the case of this production number, we actually saw on Monday, after the numbers came out, there was a nice pop on the stock of like $70 a share. And then today, Tuesday, as prices fell in a general market for a variety of issues, we now had a sort of a change in the stock price. And even though Tesla has been doing well, it wasn't able to hold on to those gains. I believe today, Tuesday, is a special or important day because Thursday is sort of the 3-day rule hitting. Will it be as impactful as it has in the past? My argument is that it's somewhat of an unknown, but it's still the day that large institutions have an opportunity to weigh in on how they want to position themselves before the April 20th earnings announcement. Now, why do I think this thing is going to be solid and getting stronger and stronger as we head into earnings? We're actually going to find out what the production numbers have been at both Berlin and in Austin of vehicles that currently are now being allowed to be sold. We were told that as of Thursday of this week, the Austin selling of those vehicles will be allowed, in which case a lot of vehicles produced but not delivered to customers will get the green light to do so. We'll see if that's the case, but I do believe that could be a catalyst for the stock this week as well. So where do I think we are right now? Well, Elon made the comment that production started back in October in Austin, and there are a lot of test vehicles now being produced in Berlin that'll be delivered to customers as well, but not as high a count because there's more sort of constraint on those sales. So what do I see happening from here? Well, the answer I see occurring is it's my belief that about 100,000 vehicles have been produced and not sold already for the quarter. So if the rest of the quarter delivers, let's say, another 400,000 vehicles between all 4 factories, we now have go from a 310,000 produced for this quarter to maybe 500,000. And that kind of growth is the kind of growth that will cause the stock to skyrocket, because it's implying that 4 times 500,000 vehicles is actually is actually 2 million vehicles in a year plus. And so the numbers we're going to be hearing for what the production is, that we can tell based on number of cars produced and then delivered, is going to be a really big deal to articulate what Tesla's growth is. So we really look forward to what those numbers are going to look like, and then what we can infer from that is a big deal. So the other sidebar note to note here is the fact that even if production doesn't get up into the sort of 100, 200,000 a quarter that it should at each of the factories within the next 3 to 6 months, we're still seeing big numbers that imply growth. And where I believe we at in a year from now is definitely at 500,000 of vehicles coming out of the new factories, and at least 1 million vehicles coming out of the old factories. So what you're seeing here is solid growth by Tesla in the hottest market in automobiles over time. And I think this sets up some really good news for the stock, really good news for Tesla as a company. So in general, it's my belief that news is excellent and continues to get better for the company. The kind of next thing we're waiting on is, right now, there are at least 7 analysts that have a sell rating on Tesla, 2 or 3 in the hold space as well. What we really need is a transition from sell or hold into accumulate or buy. And that kind of transition by analysts over the next few weeks, as these numbers come in for revenue, is where we're going to see a huge transition in what's going on with the stock and the company. The key to it, I think, is that on why we see so many analysts in that sell space is that the less mystery there is about how and where the company is going, and you can confirm that by just looking at the number of vehicles produced, the higher the stock goes, because there's a lot more confidence. There are all these questions that have been lurking. Would the Berlin factory open? Would it produce any cars? Would Austin open? Would it produce any cars? Do they have enough batteries? Do they have enough semiconductors to drive the production there? Another issue that's lurking that we've been discussing over on our Patreon space is the fact that Shanghai has shut down currently, and it's unknown when it's going to reopen. But in theory, we have a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks of shutdown, both from cities that are suppliers to Tesla, as well as the factory in Shanghai being shut down, as the COVID issues are being addressed in Shanghai. So there are still, as you can see, some flies in the ointment. The nice thing about the status of what's going on in Shanghai is the fact that the Model 3s and Ys being produced there could easily be made up at one of the other factories if needed. And so it's a problem, but it's not off the chart problem that would significantly impact Tesla's numbers. But nonetheless, it's concerning because you do need vehicles produced to sell to the Chinese customers. And Tesla really hasn't been shipping that many vehicles to that location, which is kind of interesting. At any rate, in general, the numbers were terrific when it comes to what production was. It felt very unusual for Tesla to not have its usual 40,000 per quarter increase in the number of vehicles that were produced and sold. And therefore, I could see some concerns show up where the stock does okay, but not terrific. But I do believe that as the analysts get a hold of all the data we just covered, it'll start to allow them to give a green light to changing to acquire or accumulate rather than sell or hold the stock. And that will have a significant impact, and we're going to see what's happening with that on Thursday. And it's an interesting thought on Thursday that it's the 3-day rule hitting, and we also have the factory doing its 15,000 person party to celebrate the opening of the factory. So we'll keep you posted on news that's popping up that's worth your time. We look forward to your comments on all of this. Our health tip for today is, remember, 25 leg lifts per leg in order to strengthen the quad muscles, ensuring that you limit the possibility of knee issues that need to be operated on. We also wanted to encourage you to get some stretching in to maintain flexibility. This is Greg for Teslafaninsight. Tschüss, au revoir, lahitrahot, hoda hafez, hey do, our friends in Sweden, good day, our friends in Australia, arrivederci, our friends in Italy, asante, our friends in Swahili, and in Jamaica we say enough respect, walk good man. Thanks for joining us, have a great day, and bye for now.